AMD smashes more world records.
YouTube's done with you, you filthy pirate.
And Nvidia's not done with the card that people dislike the most, like the least.
I hate to love it and love to...
Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. I'm going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet.
I'm
while
Kyle.
You enjoy your breakfast this Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023. Hi, Kyle.
Hi, Dad.
Let's jump on into AMD smashing some world records. We talked about this as the headline yesterday's episode of Hot News, and it turns out that when you give AMD's new chip to actual liquid nitrogen overclocking professionals, they do better than the company even does, because the new Threadripper 7995WX 96-core chip just obliterated every record. The record we talked about yesterday got absolutely decimated. It's like an extra 10% faster now.
It's very, stupidly fast.
Yeah, so this used to be the previous world record with AMD. This 147 on 2 EPYC chips with 192 cores. Now it's at 200,000 on a single 7995WX, and this is thanks to some extreme overclockers. You can watch Elmore Labs' attempt at this over on their YouTube channel. Derbauer was also involved in it. This thing just wallops everything that used to exist. Additionally, it drew only 1,600 watts, whereas when they really pushed Intel's fastest chip, it drew almost 1,900 watts.
Really?
So this is faster than Intel's chip while consuming significantly less power under liquid nitrogen load. This is wild.
What was wild to me is I was looking at all the specs for the system. It is like the most hilarious supercomputer nonsense you have ever seen. Because they have like an A1000 with 128 gigabytes DDR5.
Yeah, and I'm sure the motherboard also costs like $5,000.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, they subjected 20 grand worth of computer parts to a science experiment, which is fun. It's always fun to see stuff like that happen. Also, I found out that Derbauer bought the RTX 4090 Matrix Platinum. You remember the one we saw at Computex? Jensen was around signing that one, and they auctioned it off for Make-A-Wish. Turns out Derbauer bought it for 16 grand. Thank you, Derbauer, for donating to Make-A-Wish. My family is a recipient of Make-A-Wish, and we appreciate you. Oh, but that's not all the AMD Threadripper news we have. Turns out people tested this thing in Linux. Cam's gonna love this news, and it's 20% faster in Ubuntu than it is on Windows 11, which makes a lot of sense because Linux loves a lot of cores. It gobbles them all up, says... That's exactly what Linux Ubuntu does specifically, and then Windows 11 only likes it if you have 8 cores. Any more than that, it starts losing its mind a little bit. Linux is for the sane, rational individual. But you know what rational people do? They check out today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Newegg and their next storage lineup of SSDs that you can check out at the link in the video description. These things can be used for whatever system you're trying to build, or even put it in a PlayStation 5 because it's got a built-in heatsink to keep your device cool and performing great. Additionally, they are incredibly fast, coming in at over 6,000 megabytes per second of read and write speeds, and they give you a great bang for your buck. So in case you're looking for an SSD that is only 1 terabyte, or you need it in the 4 terabyte flavor, Next Storage has you covered with their options over on Newegg. You can check them out at the link in the video description. Big thanks to Newegg and Next Storage for sponsoring today's video. Well, even though your SSD might run fast with Next Storage, your web browser's not going to, because we talked about in yesterday's episode of Hot News that YouTube was adding a 5-second delay to anybody that was potentially suspected of using an ad blocker, and it was unconfirmed. I posited that it could be a bug. YouTube came out today and said, oh boy, that's not what it is. If you use an ad blocker, you might have a suboptimal viewing experience, regardless of whatever browser you're using. So just don't use an ad blocker is what YouTube's saying.
They're very adamant on this. Isn't the default skippable ad also 5 seconds? The idea is that you wait 5 seconds.
You're paying the price either way.
Frick you, man. You gotta wait either way.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I've been trying to think of why is YouTube foisting itself down this rabbit hole so fast and fierce, right? All of a sudden woke up and chose violence. Like, this went by for years and not nary a word was said. Turns out, the backstory of the new CEO of YouTube, Neil, he was the head of all of the AdSense programs. His business was making sure ads worked perfectly. He is the ad CEO. So it makes sense that kind of his first order of business is being out in front of, all of the YouTubers, making them happy. But now when it gets down to brass tacks, getting that cash dollar from everybody. Floatplane. Follow us on Floatplane. These videos come out early and without ads over on Floatplane.
Woo! Woo!
So it appears that they might even be bringing that 5-second delay to Chrome, even though that's the one safe haven that everybody's been reporting right now. They can go back to Chrome and everything's fine. Maybe eventually they'll remove that and you just get a 5-second timeout no matter what.
What if they give it to everybody, even if you don't have an ad blocker and you have premium? Is it fair?
It's equal. Fair is a very subjective word. I think the comments have some opinions on. I'm gonna stay away from that one. But we got more updates to other stories we've talked about in hot news this week. We started off with YouTube. Now we're gonna talk about OpenAI. Turns out that letter where everybody said they were gonna resign. Yesterday's episode, I said it was 500 people. Now it's 747 out of the 770 employees. Only 23 people want to stay behind, and that could just be because they haven't checked their email right now because they're remote.
Yeah, who are these 23 people? Why?
They've been
what's wrong
flying
with
like
them?
they're on vacation for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah,
Like
they're gonna come back and be like, where did everybody go?
they took PTO on Thursday so that they could have an entire week off, and now they have no idea what's been going down at their own company. But it does seem like a lot of the board members are now flip-flopping, trying to get Sam Altman to come back, and so that's the biggest word on the street, is that is progressing a little bit. But Microsoft has come out and said that if needed, you have a role at Microsoft that matches your compensation and advances our collective mission. So also reports of maybe the board members might be under some sort of lawsuit by some investors because of this whole shenanigans. It's not shaking out very well for OpenAI. Additionally, we talked about in yesterday's episode of Hot News that the CEO of Cruise resigned, specifically after a lot of federal investigation proved that they ignored a lot of warning signs. Now the co-founder also resigned.
Wow, this is some real cruise control, you know what I'm saying?
And then additionally, updating the whole Nothing messaging debacle as well. Nothing pulled Sunbird and their iMessage setup with the Nothing chats, and now Sunbird has shut down its iMessage program, removed it from the Play Store completely, and it's coming out now that kind of journalists knew that this thing didn't work, and they've been reporting on that for a while. And Ars Technica found that when they initially announced their product in 2022, they got real spicy about like defending how it works, and then they hung up the Zoom call. So this company wasn't trustworthy from the beginning, and it looks like Nothing did nothing in terms of due diligence.
I wish I could have seen the Zoom call. I think Sunbird is gonna be one of those companies that like is very obscure, and it's gonna be really funny in like 5 years when somebody makes a joke about them.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a deep cut.
Yeah.
And it's always funny when we make a joke about Reece. Give us one.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. And hey, it is Wednesday, my dudes, and today we're starting off with this Razer Kiyo Pro 1080p webcam, which you can pick up for only $70.87, which is $129.12 off for this Black Friday deal. But then next up, we have this KTC 32-inch 1440p 165Hz curved gaming monitor, which is currently going for only $229.99, making it $320 off, plus you get a little $20 promotional gift card, so win-win. And then last but not least, we have the AMD Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, which, what else is there to say about this chip? You can currently pick it up for only $359.99 with the included promo code. This is the best time to shop around between different retailers because they're all trying to one-up each other. In this case, it's the little extra promo code that gives you an extra $10 off, bringing your total off to $90. So, hey, and with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett and Kyler for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, CD Projekt Red's gonna give us a deal in terms of Cyberpunk because they're gonna be rolling the DLC of Phantom Liberty all into the Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, so you get the base game plus the expansion, giving that to you in one tiny little package that can be either physical or digital.
That was my nickname in high school.
Tiny little package.
Digital. How much is this gonna cost?
So they haven't announced that. It's going to be coming out on December 5th. A lot of the rumors that I've been seeing is $59.99.
That's a good price for that.
Right, because it was $30 for the expansion, and the base game costs $60.
And it's
and
a
so
few
it
years
goes on.
old.
It goes on sale on the regular.
Yeah.
So I think $60 for the Ultimate Edition is reasonable.
If you're gonna play the game and you haven't yet, now is the best time to jump on board. It's good now.
Reece was streaming it. Did you see that this morning?
When's he gonna finish being a cowboy?
He's streaming to his heart's delight right now. Cowboy time, the ninja slicing time.
I saw the other day, he was streaming and he wasn't even Reece. He was just a PNG of Reece with a poorly photoshopped cowboy hat.
So it turns out that his camera overheats.
Yeah, that's...
And they don't have AC in South Africa, and it's going into summer, so he's been struggling a little bit. He refuses all of my attempts to buy him real things. Like when I say, hey, maybe don't stream at the Fuji, he goes, frick off. That's my Reece.
Isn't it?
Do you know how long it took me to get him to accept a computer from me? Years.
Yeah, I know.
Years.
Yeah, you wanted him to take that laptop back with him too.
Oh yeah, no, he didn't.
He just
You know who has that?
I have a good guess.
Well, now there's a good guess on what's happening with OnePlus. The 12 is supposed to get launched in January.
Wait a minute, the 12 comes out after the 11?
Sure does. We do have the 11. I forgot about that. It's going to get announced on December 4th, and then there's going to be a global launch on January 2024 so that you can buy the newest OnePlus phone, who doesn't have all of the shenanigan debacles of Nothing, because the founder of Nothing was the previous co-founder of OnePlus.
1 plus nothing equals 1 plus.
Oh, I don't get it.
Me either.
Okay, well, I also don't get what's going on over at Nvidia, because they have... You read it? They decided to keep the worst received GPU out of the entire batch, as long as we exclude the 4060 Ti 16 gig, as long as we say that doesn't exist. The 4070 is not getting replaced by its Super variant. New reports are coming out that the 4080 Super is going to replace the RTX 4080. The 4070 Tisper is going to replace the 4070 Ti, and the 4070 Super is not replacing the 4070. It looks like it's replacing the 47 Ti.
47 times.
I don't even know how to read these anymore.
Like once a week, they just do something that makes me more confused.
It makes sense in terms of like a product stack level. So the 4080 Super is supposed to only be 5% faster. The 4070 Tisper is supposed to only be 10% faster. The 4070 Super is supposed to be 20% faster. So it gets really close in terms of CUDA cores. You can see right here, the 4070 Super is like within 5 to 10% of the Ti. So it makes sense if they get rid of the Ti. I'm gonna be a little frustrated if they launch the 4070 Super at $799. That's not cool. The 4070 Super needs to come in at $599. The 4070 needs to cost way less. The 4070 Tisper should cost $799 at the most. What are they gonna do? Bump it up to $899? What's the 4080 Super gonna cost? Is it gonna be my conspiracy theory where it was $1,400 and they got rid of the 4090? How is this all gonna play out?
Yeah, how are they gonna price the 4070 Super?
More than the 4070?
Like $699? That just doesn't make sense to me for it to be $599, $699, and $799.
No! That makes no gosh dang sense. This is bad. This is really bad. And the best part is people are still gonna buy it.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna sell like gangbusters.
I already bought it.
I know you did. I saw your Amazon shopping cart. Look at you.
I shouldn't have left it in the driveway. It's a physical shopping cart.
I was thinking the card was in the driveway. Well, let's get to some digital comments. Sorry,
As opposed.
Your nickname from high school, my bad. French fry in your McDonald's BA says Google's rollout strategy is to target 1%, then 10%, then 100%. Just like with the YouTube blocking ad blocker, they are testing technical response and customer acceptance. I can see that.
Then start yelling.
Start screaming. The CEO will hear you.
They gotta know everybody's real mad.
I think with some things, when they got rid of like verified ticks on some of the creators, like the check marks, they were like, some of you get it, some of you don't. It doesn't matter if you passed 100K or not. Remember Oztalks Hardware lost his check mark. And like everybody was like, what are you doing? And they rolled that back, but I have a hard time thinking that they're gonna roll back something that makes them more money, because all they're doing is pissing off the people they make no money off of. They're reducing their cost, right? Like if you get rid of the people who don't watch the ads and therefore don't make the company money, you're reducing costs.
All I'm saying, I'm less mad about the Google ad thing than I am about the whole Netflix debacle that happened earlier this year, and I still will occasionally use Netflix. So what am I gonna do about this? I'm just gonna let it happen.
You're a sheep to consumerism. That's the noise sheeps make. Which, speaking of sheeps to consumerism, Windows 2000K said, if I had to choose paying $200 for a PS Portal or $200 for a Switch Lite, I'm going for the Lite any day. That's fine for you.
Power to you.
I don't care about Nintendo games.
Those are two very different things. And
Yes.
also, if you want to buy the PlayStation Portal, you also do need to buy the $500 PlayStation.
It's a $700 investment.
Yeah, it's very different. It's very different than the comparison you're making.
Required username said, they should just let the AI run the company. What could possibly go wrong with giving powerful AI profit-driven objectives? Also, Desmond is 100% right. Well done, Desmond. Your WWE reference was correct.
I thought it was going to be really funny if he wasn't down here. We were just met with silence.
Fernando says, okay, Brett, you have a fair point to the PS Portal. It works for a small set of people, but my point is this. Instead of creating a product that pleases a small subset of people, why not create a Vita 2 or similar and make a significantly larger subset of people happy?
I have very
Keep up with the
strong-
chaos, Kyle.
Oh, thank you. I have very strong opinions about this, and I went on a tangent earlier on stream.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can I go on mine and then I'll...
Yes.
Okay. So the Vita 2 would be an equally small subset of people. This thing sold like... This thing sold just atrociously. The Vita, garbage. PSP, great. The Vita was the PSP too. Guess what? Nobody wanted it, okay? Just because people demand it doesn't mean they're gonna buy it. And I think, based on what I'm seeing, the Portal is actually selling well. And I know that there's been arguments of being like, oh, it's just the scalpers, but I don't think that's the case. They had pre-orders up for a very long time. I got all of my pre-orders in that I wanted to do. And then it was only on launch day that finally things kind of started selling out. They sold out of their inventory. We don't know how many that is, but I don't think this is a commercial failure for Sony. Now your rant, go ahead.
In the event of a Vita 2,
Yes.
Imagine a world where they release a Vita 2, guys. What do you put on that? How are you convincing developers to make an intensive, worthwhile library of games? How much is that thing gonna cost? The Vita cost, what, $250 back in the day when it came out?
I have no idea. $250.
Yeah, $250 in 2012 whenever that launched. That's $2012. Compared to now dollars,
Be 335 bones.
yeah, and that's implying that it's not gonna be more. That thing's gonna cost minimum $400.
That's
okay?
a PlayStation 5.
That's a digital PlayStation 5. They're gonna go down this pipeline where they're like, oh, we need to make it powerful like a PlayStation 5 and we gotta put all these games on it. Oh no, we don't have developers that are gonna put games on this. Well, we gotta take games that are already out on the PlayStation and already out on the PC. And at that point, you know what the easiest solution is? Steam Deck. Handheld PC. I feel like that's the direction we're going in.
Yeah, actually, so I think this brings up a very good point. The best case scenario was that Sony launched a Portal, a remote play device.
Yeah.
That's it. A Vita 2 doesn't work because the reason the Vita failed was because game developers had to develop. It was another console. It was a completely different experience. You could not play PS3 games on the Vita. You could do remote play on the Vita.
No, it was the PS4 then, because they had remote play for PS4 on the Vita.
Regardless, you couldn't play the same games, right? It was a different console, requiring a different experience. In order to get PS5 level fidelity, because remember, Sony doesn't have a Series S where they have a cut down version that they can run at lower wattage. They have a singular PS5 that consumes 220 watts. You can't put that in a handheld. The Vita 2 would fail for the same reason so many other things fail. It would be another console that game developers have to develop for, and then we get another Jack Lost Frontiers.
Have you guys...
Do you want that?
No.
You want Jack Lost Frontiers too?
I don't. Have you ever just looked at, like, the AAA games available on a Switch? It's disappointing. And that's one of the most popular consoles on the planet.
The only handheld solution that I think Sony could have otherwise gone, they would not have done this because it makes no sense. A PlayStation 4 mobile.
That's what I was thinking.
Right? Because the PS4 doesn't require a whole lot. It's basically equivalent to the Switch SoC. You can get that amount of power in a mobile form factor, but you cannot play the latest games that are coming out. You have to play last generation games, and you have to play them at 30 FPS at like 480 to 720p. It's gonna be a rough experience. No matter what, Sony had to release something that either worked with the PS5 or worked by itself. And they chose the cheapest way of doing work with the PS5. And I think that makes a lot of sense.
That being said, if this thing was $150...
It should have Bluetooth!
It should have Bluetooth and $150. That's the number I've seen thrown around.
Nobody would complain.
It would be a lot more palatable for the people who don't want this.
Who cares? It's the same thing with the YouTube ad blocker situation. You're off the people who aren't contributing. Oh no, we made the Xbox stands mad. They're not buying consoles. They're not buying the games. Anyways, Dranio said, as a Firefox user, that 5-second delay has been an on and off thing for years for me. There would be times where there would be a 5-second delay, then a couple weeks later it would stop happening, then return many months later. No delay at the Kermit moment, though.
Kermit.
I did say Kermit. Well, that's actually really relevant because you've got a bug in your system and you need a frog to come and lick it out.
It's me, I'm the bug. I've been on the outside of your house with a little light switch that's hooked up to the plug that the router's connected to, and I've been every time you've been going on YouTube.
Really nice. That's a lot of dedication. Purple Unicorn says, I'm rolling with the poo-poo lightning rod. I'm hoping to snag mine soon. Keep up the good work, guys.
What happened?
I said that I'm the poo-poo lightning rod for all of the hate of the PS Portal.
Oh, you said that yesterday?
Yeah, I did. I also like how we've milked the PS Portal for comments for like 3 straight days, and we didn't even discuss the PS Portal in Friday's episode of Hot News. I talked about the weekend video. We're milking this real good.
I'll keep talking about it if people keep wanting to fight about it.
Hey, did you see Linus released a video on it?
No.
He mostly agrees with us.
No way.
Yeah.
Is that why I looked at the like to dislike ratio on our Portal video?
Yeah.
The first day it was at like 56%.
Yep.
But it went way higher today.
I think because it's finally getting into the inbox of a lot of people. I noticed that on yesterday it was up to like 75.
Yeah.
It was before Linus launched it.
Okay.
People finally realized our genius. All right, we won't grace you with our genius tomorrow because that's an American Thanksgiving.
Hand bone the table. See you on Friday. Or something. I don't know.
You won't because you're going to be home
See
on
Brett on Friday.
Yeah, because I have to film on Thanksgiving. Look what you made me do.